you know.
Hey, everyone. Suzanne Taylor King here for an impromptu coffee chat with the incredible, the amazing, and the super humble Sajad Husain. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you mentioned humility. That's what most people say about my
Yeah,
greatness.
yeah. So, we're going to talk a little bit about community today. We're coming off of Polarizing networking that was earlier today, and you had an amazing room full of people. And before we went live, we briefly chatted about how you're doing that, the snowball effect of good people to good people telling good people. And it's so obvious how it works. And let's get into it and let's talk about that today.
Well, it's super simple, stupid simple, and not like anything else. So it's different than all the other ones. So the other ones have rules, and they
Mhm.
have get to know you questions. And polarizing networking is just do whatever you want, say whatever you want, be whoever you want to be. And I think that's filling a gap in the market
Mm.
because everywhere else has rules. Don't pitch anybody. We're here to make friends. We're here to make relationships. We're not here to sell. My co-host Kristen Spencer agrees in part with some of those things. I don't want to speak for her, but I totally disagree. I think it's all about capitalism. This is our job. If this is our business, and you should be offering to sell your product. But anyways, you can come and say whatever you want. We've been doing it 3 months. Have 106 people registered, and the main feedback is that it's a lot of fun because you're allowed to do anything you want, say what you want.
But what is interesting to me is the people in the room are people that have their own rooms. So that's really cool. That's a sign to me that you attract quality people. I love the fact that when I show up at your group or when you show up to mine, that value is being dropped like crazy. Your room is interesting because it's people who have their own rooms. And when you get into that situation and you fully realize the spider web effect of that happening, is if I'm connected to somebody in your room who has their own room, I might be invited to their room. Maybe I was already in their room. And you start getting connected on a deeper level with people, and more people know what you do.
And I think that's like attracts like. So
Mm.
usually when I get shit on TikTok or any other social media, I get called ugly, stupid, fraud every day by different people. I say
Mhm.
thank you very much for promoting my post. I greatly appreciate it. But then sometimes I look at who's saying what because you got to consider the source. So I did a post, and two people who have 300,000 followers said this is exactly right. What I said was exactly right. And then 10 people called me an ugly idiot loser. And I
Mhm.
looked into them, and none of them had posted a video ever. They weren't even trying. So I did put a comment at the top that I pinned, and I said, "Look at who's complimenting me. Look at their profiles, and look at who's insulting me." The
Yeah.
most successful people agree with my post. The people that are doing nothing with their lives are just being mean to me, which doesn't impact me. But that's all they're doing. And so I think it's like attracts like. Intellectuals attract intellectuals. That is my favorite thing. We
Mhm.
have no fake business people. We have some people that are only making 30 grand or 50 grand, but the majority of the people in the room are multimillionaires, or a lot of them are.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of them are making a lot of money. And so, yeah, and I think they're attracted to each other. Like
Yeah.
everybody says it's fun. And then because you go to these things, somebody like you, a successful business person, might be in a room with five other people who are making $10,000 a year. And
Mhm.
that's not really who you well, I don't know how you would do business with them unless they were hiring you. If
Well,
they're
I think that was my issue, when I was, Facebook famous and had a Facebook group, and when I wasn't really networking, not like I am now, But back then was, maybe a Chamber of Commerce networking event once a quarter, and I would meet people local to me, but nobody who could really either connect me to somebody, introduce me to somebody, or hire me. And so it was really discouraging when you were in that stage of wanting to grow your business, wanting to make more money. You feel like, God, what am I doing wrong here? And it's not that you were doing anything wrong, you're just not in the right room. And now I fully understand, it took a long time to really grasp you are who you hang out with. You are, the sum of those people, and those people are going to connect you to other good people. And really grasping that from a networking standpoint is hard for a lot of people, because you do need to pitch yourself. You need to express the value in what you do and how you offer it, and not be afraid to do that, and giving people a platform to practice that is one of my missions. Like, I want people to come and practice that, do better at that. Because if I introduce you to somebody, and I know if I introduce you to somebody, I know you're going to see how you could help them by listening, and you're going to pitch yourself to them. You're going to suggest that they work with you and fix their income issues.
Usually.
Usually.
I mean, I'm always going to tell somebody what I do. I mean, I met with one of your people 2 weeks ago, and if they say, like, I'm not trying to work that hard anymore, there was one at my networking event today who said, I met with her a year ago, and she said today at the event that she wasn't making much money. But when I met with her a year ago, she told me, everything you do sounds extremely valuable. I'm not willing to work that hard anymore. So, yeah, I thought that was coincidental. A year after not hiring me, yeah, I mean, it was kind of her and open of her and vulnerable of her to say she wasn't making enough money. But a year ago, she said what I taught was extremely valuable, didn't hire me. And a year later, she's not making enough money, as per what she said. So my dad, when I was in my 20s, I thought it was, when you're younger, you're open to everybody. It's much easier to date. It's much easier to get married. It's much easier to make friends. You're much less particular. The older you are, the more particular you get. So in my mid-20s, both my parents are immigrants. They both grew up in poverty, but they made a significant amount of money. My dad did off his own business, with the support of my mom. And he only hung out with doctors, lawyers, engineers, and architects. That was the only people in my house growing up. Mm-hmm. And so I asked my dad, how come there isn't, nothing bad, but a garbage man or a cab driver or somebody of a different socioeconomic class? And he said, it's not the same conversations.
Yeah.
I thought it was really bad. I thought it was pretentious. I thought it was degrading. I thought it was demeaning. But it's different. I can't talk to half the people I was friends with in my 20s anymore, or maybe 80% of them, because they're not on anything. 20% of them got master's degrees and doctorate degrees and law degrees. My best friend has 2 doctorate degrees, lives on $1 million sailboat in the Caribbean. We have different conversations.
Right.
We have conversations about investing and business growth and relationships too, like dating. But it's a different conversation. If I talk to my friend that lives with his mother at 50 years old, it's not the same conversations as I have as when I talk to my friend that has $1 million sailboat and with 2 doctorate degrees. That's the friend I talk to the vast majority of the time when I'm talking to somebody. So yeah, when you're younger, or maybe even when you're older, you think that's mean or demeaning or degrading. But if you really want to be successful, it's really important who you talk to. And then another thing, I texted you how great you were last night, and you asked me why. When you start, and it's Jeff's dad said it today, Derek Lord said it at the meeting, you start to see themes in what people say. So the people that are really successful all always say the same things. It could be in different words, different phrases, different approach maybe in the use of their language or whatever. But it's all the same stuff. So like attracts like. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, Kristen's here. Kristen Spencer. She says 2 amazing people. Hey, Kristen. What's up, girl? And Ruben says, being in the right room is so important. And, those conversations can only be had with people who either are where you are or who are going in that same direction.
Or who are already there. That's even better.
Yeah, that is even better. Because then, that reciprocity, when I help someone, when I introduce someone, when I connect someone, or even when I say, oh, come to this event, you're going to get extreme value. And we can use last night as an example. I run a monthly conversation for coaches. I got 4 messages after last night's conversation. I didn't even lead the conversation. I have a guest who led the conversation, and me bringing him to the room results in 5 people reaching out to him today to schedule appointments. That's amazing, right? I love that. Now, that doesn't make me any money in that room last night, but me connecting other people has benefited my business 100,000 times. And bringing value to people is one of my core values. I don't care if it's my value. I like bringing other people's value too. And I think you're the same.
Yeah, I think we talked about this last night, and then I spoke to Kristen about it this morning. You're not seeing the big picture when you're providing value to other people. So I know a couple of people that had really good networking groups, and they shut them down because they didn't see direct value. But there's direct value in the building of the brand, the value of the brand, the goodwill of the brand. If people come to our event, they meet. We're attracting all great people. Seriously, that's not a promotion. It's true. The people that are showing up are great. They're going to end up helping each other make money, and they're going to say, "We met, at that Polarizing networking, and that's value to Kristen and I." Right. It might not get us money. It may or may not get us money, or may not get us deals. But I know other people that just say, "Oh, I'm not making any money. I'm doing this event, or I have this online platform. I'm not getting paid." People are talking about you though, and people appreciate what you're doing for them.
Right. Right. And I think when you really look at that, I don't know, do most people understand the value in that? And then when you do end up connecting with someone, in a breakout room or one-on-one, are you articulating what you do in a way that makes people say, "Oh, I need that." Not just, "Oh, that sounds good." And I remember when you said that a couple of weeks ago, are people just saying, "Oh, that sounds great"? Or are they saying, "Oh, shit, I need that"?
I need to hire you.
Yeah.
There was a lady I met with yesterday, and there was one that was a former client of mine 6 months ago who I almost didn't let hire me, but she was really good friends with a former client of mine. But she was saying negative things. One of the things she was saying was networking doesn't work. It's a waste of time. Mm-hmm. And a lady said that to me yesterday when I was on a pitch call. And she said, "Well, can you provide me with alternatives?" I said, "Well, the reason why you feel that way is because you're not showing massive value." I had her pitch me already. You're not showing massive value. And so that's why you're not enjoying it. Just like people don't like working because they're stressed out because they're not getting results for all their time and effort. They're busy, they're active, they're not productive.
Yeah.
So they're not getting results. So my former client from 6 months ago, 2 weeks into my program, she said, "I'm meeting way better people now. I'm not meeting with these idiots anymore, right?" And I said, "No, you're meeting with the same idiots you were meeting with 3 months ago and 2 weeks ago. When you know how to show massive value, like a person like you, Suzanne, or Ruben, or Kristen, or Jen, certain people when they're able to articulate massive value, stand out from everybody else, because so few people can show value. I'm a mindset coach. I'm a business coach. I'll help you write a book. I'll help you create a funnel. I have a CRM that does it all. Whatever it is, it doesn't sound special. It doesn't sound amazing. It doesn't sound like I want to talk to you. And the good part about how much everybody sucks is that it's so easy to be great.
Yeah.
The bar for being great is so low.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I'm guilty for years of saying I'm a business coach for entrepreneurs. Like, that'll put you to sleep. Plus, there's probably, I remember a networking group that I was in for a long time. There were 7 of those. Like, and you know, that means you're blending in with the wallpaper, so to speak, you know? And it wasn't until I did some introspection, did some self-work, I did some story brand work, and then I did some results focused work, like research. Where do my clients end up when I'm done with them? And it was only then I was able to articulate what I actually do with my clients, and then package it in a way. And it was funny because all along, that's what I do for my clients. Help them extract their intellectual property, turn it into a product or a service that they can build a landing page for, or verbally sell, or write a proposal for. And I wasn't articulating that when I met with people. So of course people glaze over. They're like, oh yeah, she's a business coach, or whatever that means, you know. But when I could articulate, I'm going to extract your intellectual property and turn it into a product or a service that you can actually articulate and sell, people started lining up. I need that. I need that. I need that. I don't have that. What do you mean? And wow, what a difference in my business. And it can change like that if you articulate yourself properly.
Yeah, the person that's on my calendar for today, one of the things I say a lot that upsets a lot of people, so I enjoy saying it. If it doesn't pay all your bills, you don't have a business, you have a hobby.
Exactly.
And that's what she put on my calendar survey today. Why are you meeting with me? She said, because if you don't pay all your bills with your business, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. Just being different is going to make you if you are truly yourself, unless you're just a boring person, you're going to stand out as different because very few people are being themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're very scripted and they don't sound unique. Like the LinkedIn coaches, how many billions of LinkedIn? It's probably more LinkedIn coaches than there are humans on earth. So I asked the lady, how often does she post? How many views does she get per day?
Uh-huh.
She said vanity numbers don't matter. So you can't even answer my question. I mean, you're not willing to answer my question, probably because you're getting the mandatory 150 views per day, and you're probably broke. So, yeah.
Well, I would argue that views don't matter if you're on 5 different platforms and you're getting, 10 views over here and 10 views over here, but you're meeting with people and pitching yourself properly, maybe your views don't matter. But if your income level is not where you want it to be, if you're struggling, if you're complaining about your business and you're doing all this busy work, and I'm guilty of busy work sometimes, but if you're stuck in that place, it's because you're not offering people to purchase from you. You're never getting to the point where you're in that conversation where a credit card comes out. And that's a problem for 90% of the people I talk to.
In my experience, that's the second problem in dealing with my clients. The first problem is when they hire me a week into my program, or maybe before the first week. Well, as we're going up to branding, the first week is branding, pitching, packages, and processes. Which, if you're hiring any business or coach or consultant for business development, the first thing they should be teaching you is how to articulate massive value concisely, which is how to pitch. And so I asked them, would you hire you? So the question you ask yourself is, would you hire you? And I'd say 95% of my clients say no when they first start working with me. They would not hire themselves. So if you wouldn't hire you, why do you believe, or why do you not understand why other people are not hiring you? And then I think what you're talking about for my program, negotiations and closing deals, is workshop 5, week 5. That's making sure you're offering your products to everybody. As Michelle Murder says, don't make the decision up for the buyer. I don't know where she got that from, but she taught me about it. But making sure you allow people the opportunity to buy. Yeah. And another thing, real quick on this point, having into a business meeting, seeing it as a business meeting, not a get to know you meeting. I don't want to do any get to know you meetings with any of you people. I want to run business meetings. You tell me, I'm going to add massive value. I'm not going to try to hard sell you, but you tell me what you do. I tell you what I do. That way we can either refer each other or we can hire each other. But the 3 thoughts going into a business meeting: everybody has money, everybody needs my help, and everybody's going to hire me. And that's not always true, but the opposite of that is researching people, which you should be doing before you meet with people, and then telling yourself before you meet with them, this person's not going to hire me.
Yes. Yes. I think, positive affirmations or positive self-talk can go down that woo-woo route of, I manifested my life. Okay. You thought about it and you ended up a millionaire? No, you did a lot of work between the thinking and the millionaire status. But there is something to be said for changing your energy and your vibration going into a conversation. And at least for me, it's not caring if somebody says no. That was the hardest thing to wrap my head around, was getting to the point where I do not care if you hire me. I don't need you. And when you need money and you need a client, it is the hardest thing to put that need over there and go into a meeting and provide massive value and to be yourself without that nagging voice. You better land a client. You got to pay your mortgage this month. And it's not until you can put that voice aside that you can show up powerfully. And I think that was the hardest thing for me, is getting past that need standpoint.
Yeah, it's operate with intention, but don't be concerned with the outcome.
Yeah.
I beat my clients with a big ass stick, as you know. And one of the times I really beat them is when they say, I just need to land this one deal, Sajad. And I'm like, oh no, you're going to land no deals. It's like, I just need to get laid once. You're never going to get laid.
Never happening.
Because you're just, in the hood, they call it thirsty. White people call it desperate. You're just desperate. And then you got that creepy energy.
Commission breath. You have a vibe that just says, oh gosh, it makes people run away from you. I had somebody say to me a long time ago, the more you chase it, the more it runs away from you. So
that's why I don't do follow-up. I rarely do any kind of follow-up. It's like, I meet with people. There was a guy last year. Melissa, I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't think I can chat. I don't know how to do it over there. But anyways, what was I saying? What did you just say? Oh, chasing money.
When you chase it, it just runs away from you.
Oh, yeah, it's just desperate. It's we've talked about this before too. Like, 3 weeks into my program, I ask people why they hire me. And you think people are hiring you because of based on what you do. They really buy based upon emotion, not logic, right? And and I know people have said this to you as well. You've said it publicly. I want to feel how you look.
Yeah. I'll have what she's having. I want that. Most of my clients want the confidence, the security, the air of just not caring if somebody says no, of if you don't like me, okay, this isn't high school. I'm not here to win a popularity contest, right? And I think a lot of my clients, they love the results, but they want that. They see me having that, and I'll have some of that. And if you could package my unique genius along the way, amazing.
Yeah, Jeff Lord was the presenter at Polarizing Networking today. He was at my house a few months ago, and he said it's impossible for somebody to hire you and then fail. And I said, why is that? He said, because you're having people do hour by hour schedules, working 12 hours a day with quantifiable measurements. So they're looking at exactly what they're doing. So it's yeah, you get confidence when you start to learn how to show massive value. You learn how to pitch, which is to concisely and clearly. And when you take a hard look at what you're doing with all your time and money, and when you're productive with your time, you gain confidence. And Nikki taught me the phrase: you don't start out with confidence, you start out with courage to try. Yeah. You try, you fail, you grow, you learn, you evolve, you get better and better and better by looking stupid over and over and over again. And then eventually you get good. You start to get positive reinforcement, positive feedback, and it builds your confidence. But you start out with the courage to try. Or you don't. And then in which case you just go on TikTok and hate on people.
Well, the courage to, Melissa said, when you find the right people, or when you find people who don't like you, it means you're doing a good job repelling, right? It means that when you're confident enough to have people not like you, and not just say yes because of that need to be liked, that's when you're actually on to something. That's when you're actually moving in that right direction. You do this better than anyone I've ever met in my entire life. You know how to repel.
I've been paid that compliment many times.
And what I like about it, one, I get your sense of humor. I get you. And somebody who is offended or repelled, they're not seeing the deeper meaning here. And it's when you're confident enough to not care if people like you, to be able to repel and to be able to pitch your services in a way that people understand and lean in. Guess what? Even if I didn't like you, I would still want to hire you. And that's kind of magical.
Well, for the record, only 96% of people don't like me, and that's because they're stupid. I attract great people, man. I attract really hardworking, really smart people who are open-minded, truly open-minded, because a lot of people make that claim and they're not. And they're funny, and they're kind, and they're caring. I love who I attract, and I don't waste a lot of time. I forget what his last name's Cruz. He's like one of the top sales coaches on LinkedIn. He's very successful. He has been for like 30 years. I met with him 2 months ago, and he said, like, one of the first things he said to me was, "You're the best I've seen at repulsing people." And he meant it. He meant it as a compliment as well, right? Yeah. I don't get people that are running scams getting on my calendar. I don't get people on my calendar that are to do a callback joke from earlier today, getting on my calendar to talk to me about cats. They've seen my videos. They've read when I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on a lifetime ban again right now. They've read my LinkedIn. They've read my website. They know what it is. So we're there to do a business meeting. I'm going to add as much value as possible. And either you're going to hire me, or I'm going to hire you, or you're going to refer me, or I'm going to refer you.
Yeah.
I really don't. I'm not. It's the wrong mentality. This is business. This is your job. You should get a life. I have 23 friends, and I have as many women as I want. I don't need girlfriends. I don't need friends. And if I make friends like Kristen and you, and if I, make Jen, if I make friends along the way, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm here. This is my job. I think people are so dumb. If you're an entrepreneur, which means you're actually living full time off your job, your business is your job. So if you go to work, do you expect all your coworkers to like you? Are you trying to ask your coworkers about who they're dating and what their favorite ice cream is and what kind of birds do they like? I'm not talking to people about that. This is work. This is work. Mm-hmm. And these ideas have been messed up. It's totally out of control now.
Well, I would like to add that even though work is work, right? I totally agree. I have met clients out in the real world when I was doing my life because I know how to articulate what I do. I met a client in line at Starbucks because I talk to strangers all the time. I met a client standing in Michael's craft store, and her and I were looking at the same thing, and there was only one of them left. And I looked at her and I said, "Do I have to fight you for that?" And she's like, "I don't know. How good are you at fighting?" And we ended up in this banter, laughter conversation. And she said, "What do you do?" And because I was able to articulate what I do, she leaned in and said, "I need you. Can I have your card?" So I came home from the craft store with a lead that was way better than anything I ever would get posting on social media, all because I can articulate what I do to people. And I think that's the takeaway from spending time with you. I can articulate better. I have met better people. And appreciate the productivity standards that are now in my head all the time just because of hanging out with you. So thank you. And
Thanks.
I hope I don't get in trouble on LinkedIn from hanging out with you. Like, I'm just saying.
I'm coming back as somebody else, but I'm not telling you. You're not going to say my name. I have two thoughts on what you said. Thank you for your kind words as well.
Yeah.
The second most money I made in my life is because of a connection at a liquor store. So the liquor store power went out. So this guy was walking around. He was vice president of a major corporation. He was walking around networking, politicking, and handing out his cards. I started doing the same thing. It's when I had my tech company, which is custom websites, custom CRMs, and business consulting. And we saw each other and we started laughing at each other because obviously there's 20, 30 people in the liquor store. We're the only two people that are walking around marketing. And so we laughed at each other. He's like, "What do you do?" He's like, "I'm vice president of I think he told me the value, but they had 50 million a year in revenue, credit card processing, but they didn't do custom payment forms or custom websites, which my company did. And so it was just total lead gen. They had 50 sales reps at one of their locations. I went there. I fed them pizza. I told them about my business. I gave them chocolate. I gave them a percentage cut.
I haven't gotten any chocolate. Where's my chocolate?
You're married.
Damn it.
And then, so yeah, always be politicking. And then the other thing is consistency. So be like somebody, like the lady today, I think you were in the room. I said, "Where do you know me from?" And she said, "I don't know." Well, I'm everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, your group, my group, that other guy's group, podcasts, presentations, my networking group, or Kristen and I's networking group. Be all over the place and be all over the place consistently.
Yeah.
Don't hop around. Don't show up to Kristen and I's group, every other time or something like that, or shared connections, or Frank Agan's group, or your group. Be consistent. I'm on your group every day. I'm on that other guy's group every day. I'm on my group every day. I'm consistent. You can't pop around because maybe they gotta keep seeing you. I don't believe in know, like, and trust. I believe in trust, and so they people will not trust you necessarily the first time they see you, But if they see you over and over and over again, you're there every single week or every other week, that's how you build the trust.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Melissa said something about having a great personal brand. And, part of my personal brand is showing up when I say I'm going to show up, being there, promoting other people selflessly. And I think for you, same. You show up when you say you're going to do something, you do something. What and Kristen's saying, 1 out of 3 ain't bad. She's so funny. I love it. All right. Well, thank you, my friend. Let's wrap up. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me live for the Idea Lab impromptu coffee chat. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you, Sajad, how do they go about doing that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
They can
All right,
go
reach out to me. I'll email intro.
If it's cold outside, I'll be in Arizona. If it's warm, I'll be in Chicago. I'm all over the place. Polarizing Networking .com, cause and effect consulting.com. You can hop on my calendar. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Suzanne's group, shared connections. Everywhere in the world. Thank you all very much for being here.
Yeah.
Good to see you
Appreciate
all.
you guys. And when it's time for you to check out a community, Polarizing Networking, and the Idea Lab for entrepreneurs, we're going to be doing some big things together over the next year or so. And Kristen, watch out. I'm on your calendar next week, girl. All right. Thanks a lot, Sajad.
Thank you.